Hey everybody, ronarray here, and it's been some time since League started, so let's check how Uber Boss farm works in game current state, if it's profitable or not, and is it great or bait. Our guest of honor today is Uber Exarch. During the test, Mr. Exarch was killed about 100 times, and should drop a lot of shiny loot that we could sell, especially considering the fragment prices, right? In this video, I will showcase a detailed breakdown of loot received and time spent together with my thoughts and rating, using timestamps as usual for particular topics, and let me know in the comments if there is a mechanic that you want me to test for great or bait series. Let's see if Uber Exarch can be profitable. Let's go! So basically, to fight Uber Exarch, you will need to use 5 blazing fragments, and you can get those fragments from tier 17s because they're dropping with some chance. Generally, farming 500 fragments for that test will be a little too hard, so I've been mostly buying them. I've been buying 5 fragments per 1 divine for some time, and it took me about half a day of preparation, not in the pure time, but just because there's not enough fragments on the market to buy all of them for that price. I wanted to keep it in 5 fragments per 1 divine price because I think that's the best chances for profit that we could have, and most of the time I tried not to go over that price. So talking about drop races and our chances, Uber Exarch is mostly dropping Annihilating Light for 47% and we'll probably receive a lot of those, Annihilating Approach, that's the boots, and they can cost about 80k also, so it's not bad, Celestial Braces, that's the gloves, and Crystallized Omniscience. It also can give us Forbidden Flame, which could be very good because it could have Hidden Ascendancy notable variant, Archive Reliquary Key, which is pretty rare, but out of 100 we'll have decent chances to get one, and Curio of Absorption. Curio of Absorption is probably the main way how we are going to receive some profit from it, and the rest would be just a nice touch. It also drops in exceptional Eldritch Chamber, some basic Forbidden Flames, and currencies such as Eldrich of Annulment, Eldrich of Kills, and Eldritch Exalted Orb. So that's pretty much what we should expect. In 100 runs, I think about 5 Curios will be expected on average, and maybe 1 Archive Reliquary Key. So talking about the fight itself, overall, I think damage over time builds are not the best for it, because sometimes he's going to jump and pretty much cast the balls. Sometimes I've been able to kill him immediately, and sometimes I needed to deal with the balls. On average, I spent about 1 minute per each fight, and 100 kills took me about 2 hours, or something close to it. And we also need to consider that I spent about 4 hours of half-active time buying all the fragments non-stop, so it probably should be considered as well in that comparison. So in general, we can go for 2-3 hours of active time and about 4 more of half active time. So after 100 tries, let's talk about loot. We dropped about 56 quarter staves, and it's not a bad result. Out of them, 6 been perfect, and perfect ones go usually for 120 kelsos per one, which is not bad and will lead us to 720 kelsos for all of them. We also dropped about 8 ones for 61%. Those are not bad and will sell for about 30 kelsos each. And the rest is pretty much almost useless and costs less than 10 kelsos and could be corrupted. So we can completely disregard that part. After that, we also dropped about 18 boots. Most of them will cost from 70 to 90 kelsos, depends on the percentage rolled. And overall, we can't receive too much currency from it, but it's still not a bad result. We also dropped about 3 curios. So each curio will cost about 20 divines. And that way we made about half of our investment back, which is a very good result. However, I honestly expected about 4 or maybe even 5 curios based on the stats that we have on Wikipedia, and I think we just got a little unlucky and it could be more than that. We also dropped about 20 gloves. 3 of them been very close to like 10 fortification and 10 fortification by itself. So each of them cost about 1.5 divines. And we will be able to sell them without any issue. About 4 of them had 9 fortification numbers, and they will sell for 100 chaoses or something very close to that number. So it's not a bad result. The rest, so it's about 13 gloves more, will sell for just 20 chaoses, so not a lot of profit in there. We also dropped about 3 jewels. And 3 jewels I pretty much identified them myself, and unfortunately 2 of them been completely useless. One costed 33 chaoses and one costed 1 divine. The last one costed about 20 divines, which is a very good result. However, that one is not really that popular, and it could be very hard to sell it. Because right now it's just like 9 lives, which is not a bad idea, but it's not really that popular currently, because not a lot of people are playing Witch. I still hope that we will be able to sell it for at least 20 or 25 divines. I will count it as 20, because chances are not that high. And after that we also received a pretty decent amount of Eldrich Currency. So normal and Eldrich Currency is bringing us about 5 divines per 14 that dropped. We also received Annulment Orbs, and we will be able to get like 3 divines for it. And we also received Eldrich Chaoses for 2 divines approximately, and some Exalted Orbs, which will be only like 20-30 chaoses. So not a lot of profit in that department. Now let's just try to summarize all of it and see how big been the profits that we will be able to make. It is also very important to keep in mind that we never dropped Archive Reliquary or Crystallized Omniscience, despite the chances. And after all selling, we pretty much made 3,410 chaoses approximately for all the items that came in chaoses. And after that, it's a perfect time to calculate divines as well. So generally, we made about 19 divines with all the items that dropped and been sold for chaoses. After that, we made about 60 divines with Curios, which is not that bad. We made about 20 divines with Lucky Jewel, 1 more with not so lucky jewel, some divines from the gloves, and after that we also made divines from currency. So in the end, we received about 114 divines. And it could be considered a pretty average result, if not disappointing. We definitely made some slight profit right here, if everything will be sold perfectly and no issues will arise in there. For example, selling jewels could be a big issue. And slight profit would pretty much be about 14 divines in the end, after about 7 hours spent to buy and pretty much run the Uber boss itself. So right now I wouldn't consider it a very good farming. And talking about great or bait, I think it's much closer to bait, because it's very random and you can even lose money doing that. And even if you will make some profit, the profit will not be that big. So for example, I barely made 14 divines if everything will sell correctly, and it's definitely not that big. And considering how much time been spent, especially buying, and how annoying the whole buying process is, I definitely feel like it's not worth it for Uber Exarch at the current moment. Maybe if you can kill it faster, or maybe if you can buy it faster, because buying time is much bigger than the killing time, it could worth your time in some situations. However, right now I can't recommend it, and I will probably place it like at position number 3, closer to bait, in great or bait scale. So that's been my farming test of 100 Uber Exarchs, and I hope it's been enjoyable for you. We made a little profit, and to be honest, I expected, I would say, a little more from the whole farming, especially considering how much time I spent buying all the fragments for that test. However, I wouldn't still call it too horrible, because we made some money back, and it's not like we lost currency on it. Hope the video will help you too if you will decide to farm some additional Ubers. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and see you next time. Ronarray out.